Hello, welcome to my evaluation. We're going to start with question 1. So, in what ways is your media product used, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? So, as you would have seen in my research, I researched 2 different magazines to sort of get the hang of different forms and conventions of a music magazine. So, we shall begin. Right, so we'll just have a quick recap of what magazines I researched. So, first of all, we've got Mojo versus Q magazine, and then versus My Magazine, which is Melody magazine. So, I'll start with like the front cover, and I'll just go through how I've used each of the magazines to construct my one, but then sort of changed the different aspects of it too, and all the different features to make it my own house style. Right, so at first glance you'll probably think that My Magazine's front cover and Mojo Magazine's front cover are slightly similar in the way that all the features are placed and how the magazine looks, but I will go into depth of how I've not just used Mojo's features and style, I've used Q style as well to create my magazine, but we'll go into that now. Right, so first and foremost, we'll start with the masthead. So I've used a white masthead with the word Melody, which is the name of the magazine, and then underneath Music Magazine, which is very similar to Mojo Magazine in the fact that it's at the top. Sorry about that. But in terms of conventions of music magazines and magazines in general, the masthead is usually at the top of the magazine, like mine and Mojo's are. In terms of Q's magazine, theirs is only one letter, so it would be slightly difficult for them to make theirs in the way that Mojo has or I have done. So in terms of me using a full word, it was slightly more appropriate to use the style of Mojo's magazine and magazines in general for the masthead. And in terms of the words Music Magazine, mine is in the same font, not the same font, the same colour font beneath the word Melody. This is because later on you'll see in the contents page I refer to Melody Music Magazine as MMM, so having this underneath makes it slightly more easier and more understandable when it gets to referring as MMM, and it allows the audience to now refer to the magazine not just as Melody Magazine but MMM. So in terms of the masthead, I've used more Mojo and more not normal, but more of the conventions of magazines in general to form my masthead. And in terms of the artist being in front of the words, I didn't want to use the picture of the artist in front of the words exactly like Mojo has done. One, because it would make you look like I've just used the whole style of Mojo, and two, because Melody Magazine's a new magazine, and having the artist covering some of the letters will make it hard for them to work out what the actual word is saying. So in terms of it being a new magazine, I thought it would be more appropriate to then have the artist only slightly covering the words. Right, so now we'll go on to the photography. So in terms of the picture of the artist, I've neither used Mojo or Q to base mine upon. I've sort of used somewhere in between. So with Mojo, you just got the artist stand plainly, look at the camera, and then Q, you've got Florence doing something. So she's holding the microphone, it's as if she's singing. So with mine, my photography is slightly in the middle, so you've got the artist adjusting his strap. So this can be referred to as he's taking off the strap as if he's peeling off his childhood, which will link to the interview. Or we can see it as him taking off the strap as opening up to the readers, which again links to the article. But I wanted to do something that was sort of challenging the forms of music magazines, so that's why I used a picture of the artist in front, and then I used a slightly faded, slightly less opaque photo of the artist behind in a different I use a different facial expression, different body language, and this is to connote this background and this childhood and past behind him, which again links to the interview questions, and it gives my magazine more of a house style and more of its own style to go upon. So it's not the same, it's unique and it's not the same as other magazines, but it still looks like a music magazine. So on my magazine, at the bottom of the page, I used sort of a block rectangle with some words in it. So it's explaining a part of the magazine that will be unique, so people can send their questions in and get them answered by celebrities. I got this sort of concept from both magazines in a way. So with Mojo, they've got theirs at the top of the page, and that's introducing the fact that you get a free CD for the magazine. But I didn't want to use the concept of having a free CD because my target audience is quite young, so you've got about 15 to 18, 19-year-olds, or maybe a little bit older, but in terms of the technology of today, I don't think a free magazine would be appropriate because everyone can just download songs nowadays, pirate songs, etc., etc. They can literally, you don't need free CDs, you don't go out and buy CDs. So I didn't think a free CD would be right for the target audience that I have. I'll talk about that more in question 4. So at first I did use the style of Q. So at the bottom of the page I had different artist names at the bottom, different colours, but I thought I would challenge that and use both the aspects of Mojo and Q. So that's why I used the coloured background of the red and the writing in there. So it's 2 different colours, and then I thought I'd use my own sort of sort of theme to put down there. So that's the whole get your questions answered. So it sort of challenges both of them, but it uses them. So it develops both of them into something that would be unique to my magazine. Right, so lastly we'll talk about the cover line, the different feature articles that are in there and how they're presented on the front cover. So in terms of the main feature article, which is the cover article, so my one has the name of the artist in big bold letters, very much like Mojo magazine and Q magazine, where they've got the name of the artist above and then what's going to be included. In terms of the way I set mine out, I used Mojo magazine more, so I've got like the blocked coloured background, the writing in front, so the writing is the same colour as the name of the artist. So that's sort of how I use that. In terms of the exclusive, again I used Mojo magazine more because I feel like the whole exclusive and the bright colours to show the importance, I think that's quite a big concept of magazines in general, because even if you look at normal magazines for like TV magazines and everything, that's a sort of convention of magazines in general, so that's why I use that. And the red and the yellow is sort of a theme that runs through the whole exclusiveness of different aspects of the magazine. But in terms of Q, I don't think they could have done that because their whole colour scheme is red, so using the red and yellow really wouldn't really have much of an effect. Although they do, and they have the special A to Z of indie music, blah blah. That's in yellow, so they still have that theme of the yellow showing importance. So in terms of the way I thought of feature articles, I've definitely used the convention of magazines in general. So you have the feature articles down each side, so you have more down the right side of the magazine than the left, which is, I think, a theme that runs through all magazines in general. So in terms of where it's replaced, I think I've definitely used conventions of music magazines. But in terms of my one, I haven't crammed as many feature articles on the front cover as Q or Mojo. So in terms of Q, we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feature articles on the side, and then Q has only has 3 really, because the indie rock record you must own underneath is just listing the different artists that are in there, but it still seems very crammed in on the page. So I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to overwhelm the readers. So that's why I've only used a couple, and it leaves the readers wondering what's actually going to be in the magazine without them being bored already. So that's it really. Right, now we are on to the contents page. So as you can see, it's not exactly the same as either Mojo or Q, although you could say it takes more of a similarity to Mojo. But again, I will tell you how I have used the conventions of both of these music magazines to incorporate into my own magazine. So let's begin. Okay, so like the front cover, I'm going to start with the masthead. So as you can see, it's very similar to Mojo again, but very different, and it takes its own sort of concept of the masthead. So you've got the white writing, which again is exactly the same really as all music magazines, all magazines in general, because you've got the MM in white, you've got Q, contents in white, and Mojo in white. So it's a running theme, so that's how I've used that convention of magazines. In terms of how mine's challenged the forms, is because I haven't used the name of my magazine as the bulk of the heading. So like Mojo, they've got Mojo. Like Q, they've got the Q in the corner. But with me, I've just got MMM, so the abbreviation of Melody Music Magazine, which is beneath the MMM. So that gives its own house style. With the issue number, with Q, they've used it literally just next to the word contents. And Mojo, they've got the date and the issue number, but I thought I'd have one in the corner of the page. So that gives it its own difference really. That's it really in terms of the heading and little subheadings and the issue number. So now in terms of the actual words on the page, I've used the conventions of both Q and Mojo. So I've got the word features. Well, I've got the word featured. They've got the word features. So I've just used a slightly different version of the word, but I've put it in exactly the same place. All the words are placed on the left hand side of the page, which is a common theme running through music magazines, as you can see. I've sort of half used Q style, half used Mojo style. As you can see with Mojo, you've got the words and they sort of adapt around the picture, whereas Q have the words boxed off and the pictures, as you'll see on the next slide, boxed off in their own. So I sort of half done that. So as you can see, I've got the two lines and the words within it, so it's half boxed in but not fully boxed in, it's just separated. And then I've got, same as Q, you've got the different feature articles in front of two pictures like Q has done. So they have a picture, and as you can see, you've got 38 courtiers in front of the picture, much like I've got the top 10 singles this month in front of a picture and the cover story in front of a picture. So I've sort of adapted mine around both of the magazines, and I've sort of took my aspects of the lines I've taken from Mojo as well. So you've got the two lines separating the cover story, which I did with mine, but instead of having it all in one box, I have a cover story on top of one of the lines, as you can see. So it's sort of my own version of each of them merged together. Moving swiftly on, I'm going to talk about the images now. So I have got 3 pictures. So you've got the 2 pictures down the side of the page, which is the ones which will link to the feature articles. You've got the reviewer, and you've got the artist that will be talked about in the main cover story. I've also used a picture at the bottom of the finals. I've adapted these from both the magazines. So with Q, they've used 2 pictures. So I've sort of used the aspect of having multiple pictures on the contents page from Q, but then again, using the plain background, I've got that idea from Mojo magazine. And as you can see, I've sort of adapted my own twist on it, if you like, where I've got the pictures of the 2 people, like the 2 models, and place that picture on top of a vinyl, which links in the theme of vinyls running through. So you've got the cases of vinyls, and you've got the actual pictures of vinyls, which images are put on, which gives it its own nice little house style in a way. So I've used both Q and Mojo magazine to form the pictures on the page, but also challenged them where I've added my own twist on it and made it look as if the vinyls actually have this grey background, but actually I added this background on, which is different to the fact that Q have used a natural background for their pictures. So that's similar to Mojo in that sense. And the last thing I want to say is that I've added the words from the editor, which neither Mojo or Q have, because this is a theme with new magazines, so it's just an introduction to the magazines. It's like you're buying the first of many more of these magazines, etc, etc. I think other magazines do have this, so running magazines do have this as well, but it's not a very prominent theme for all magazines. So I've added that to give it a bit of a difference as well, but also following the themes. that's it really for the contents page. So we shall move on to the double spread article and how I've used and adapted that from the different magazines. Right, so these are the double spread articles. You've got mine on the left, you've got Q with the Lady Gaga one, and then Mojo beneath that. So I've used a few aspects from both magazines, but with the double spread I've more challenged these and used and developed them. I've used a few, so from first glance you can see that I've put writing on both sides of the pages. So Q hasn't done that, but Mojo has, so I've used that aspect from that. I've used the one single photo, which is the same as Q, compared to Mojo. I've used a grey background with white blue writing rather than a white background. So that's how I've sort of changed it in a sense. So that's first glance, but I'll go into more detail in the next few slides. Right, moving on to the photo. In Q, they used the one single photo covering the whole of the left page, whereas Mojo used multiple photos. So one large one on the left hand page and loads of little ones on the other page and on the left page as well. But I think that's just the type of article that they had. So, but yeah, so I didn't really use any concepts from Mojo. So in terms of Q, I use the idea of using one photo because it's about one person, but I put it on the opposite page because I felt it linked more in with the fact that I've used a sort of an abstract photo. So in terms of the photo, I've more used Mojo's contents page to link in, so I've shaped the words around the artist. So yeah, I've sort of more challenged the ideas and concepts and conventions of the music magazines during the double spread page article. Additionally, I used a full length shot rather than a more mid shot. So that's more like how I've used Q with the type of photography. So in the main photo you can see that I've used more of a full body shot. Right, now I'll quickly talk about the sort of the heading. So Mojo at the bottom, they've included the name of the magazine in the corner, and they've also have quite a small heading of how to buy. So I didn't really use that concept. I've more used Q, where Q have used the name of the artist. So you've got Lady Gaga at the top. Again, they've got it on the opposite side, so I've put the name of my artist on. But I feel that mine sort of forms better. I've sort of used the idea of Q using two different headings in a way, by having Jordan Bruce and then Q&A, because that's what the article's going to be, a question and answer. So I've used Q's layout really in mine, where I've used the 3 columns, because if you look at Mojo, they've used multiple columns. They've got many columns on this, but I think that's just, again, the type of article they're doing, because they've got the countdowns. They've got the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I think that's just because of the type of article they're doing. So if you look more at Q's article, I followed the conventions as I've only used 3 columns on each page, with the artist included in one of the columns. One thing that I have added that neither of the magazines have added, but I've known from my own knowledge that most magazines of this topic does this, especially like question and answer. They have in quotations what the artist has said within the interview. So I've added that to sort of highlight that it's personal. And then lastly, another thing that they don't add, but I think in terms of my magazine being new, I think this fits in quite well. So I've added a section that cuts off saying Eminem, and then just thanking the readers for reading the article. And I think this is a good concept because it's a new magazine with new content. So using this and challenging the conventions, I think it works pretty well. That is the end of question 1. Thank you for listening.